Good morning! Oh, there's more enthusiasm here. Come on, guys. The first class was out of sight. Come on, guys. Good morning! Good morning! Start with enthusiasm. You end with enthusiasm. It's totally under your control. This morning, how do you persuade someone to something that you know is good for them, but they don't see it? How do you move from irritation to agitation without irritating them? Today we're going to talk about, well, you need a form of clarity that is appropriate for the situation so you can step in. You've got 4, 5, 6 ways that you can help them see the situation you're both looking in from your perspective to broaden theirs. So today, when you leave, I want you to take one of the 5 forms of clarity that Pink is discussing in this chapter and use it today. And I want you, ahead of time, before you walk out, I want you to know where you're going to use this in a class, in a setting, with a sorority, with a fraternity, with your best friend, where you're going to use this. Because this will become a fabulous quill. You'll pull an arrow out and use it when you need it. When someone does not see your point. When you get this, and you know you can go into any situation where someone doesn't see the perspective that you need them to see, your confidence goes up. Because you know you can win if you help them win. Quiz first. Now, I want you to think on this one. Don't use a major assumption. Be careful. That word assume, you know the word assume, right? Ooh, we haven't talked about this word assume, have we? You break it into the relative parts. When you assume, you make a out of me. Never assume. Ask. Do you mean by that this? Ask. Final answer together. Pass them up. Dangerous, Mr. Alchemy. Dangerous changing them at the end. See if you changed it to the right one. Good. Okay, good. Typically, when you change that one at the end, it's against your intuition. It's like, I just don't think so, and you mark the wrong one.
I was trying to change it, but it was much faster.
Who's going to click today? Miss Mandy. Practice. Turn it around, that's right. All right, be ever ready. Frankly, I don't think you're going to need it today. It's just kind of an insurance policy. Okay, you're a big fan of the Cincinnati Reds. And you would like your date to drive with you to Cincinnati to watch them play. Not in my family. My wife hates baseball because it's boring. In fact, she's been drugged. She was drugged to so many games going out with other guys in her life that she had such a terrible experience. And terrible experience that games are out. Instead of explaining why this particular game will be so competitive and exciting to you, you describe to her where in the ballpark you're going to be sitting, the food and adult beverages you'll be enjoying, and the two great friends you'll be sitting with. What form of clarity are you employing to persuade her to go to the game with you, Mr. Setz?
Experience.
Why? Why'd you choose that one?
Because he described things that would be happening at the game, things that would be enjoying, not necessarily.
Who would be enjoying?
Both of them, that she would be.
That she would be enjoying. It's not about you, it's about them. Every form of clarity you're going to see here is embedded with that principle. I don't care about you, what I care about is them. So in this example, thinking through in advance what she would enjoy as grown men hit this white ball around the field and dive in the dust. And they put all these numbers up on the scoreboard. It's very confusing to a non-baseball person. But they do serve major league sized beers. And there's lots of fun and excitement that goes along in a baseball game. How many of you have never seen a baseball game? Oh my goodness, that's very good. Why would you go to see the hot rods? Hot dogs, it's called. Hot rods here. This is Class A ball. Class A ball is just barely above college. So very few people go to a college game. Why do more people go to a Class A game? Just, what's that?
College nights.
And so what happens in college nights? Dollar beers. So to persuade you to go to college night, it costs how much? $1 to get in and $1 a beer? They pay you to come in and then, okay. And then you can buy all the beer you want and you can get you-know-what faced, right? And they won't arrest you and they'll pour you into a bus afterwards back to your dorm. That's not called baseball. That's called a night out with your friends, right? That's the experience. Why do people go to this place? Is it because of the baseball? No. It supports the baseball. And this team feeds the Reds, ultimately. And maybe you're going to see a player there who would play for the Cincinnati Reds and be a star. Maybe. Maybe. But you got to figure out to describe the experience to cause someone who has no perception at all about baseball that they should go. Now, let's see. Mr. Johnson, where do you think today at some time you could, maybe you should use this experience level of clarity to persuade someone? I don't know, I'm just asking. In real life, my assignment for you today was to identify one of these where you could apply it. I don't think you can do it with cows. With someone to persuade them. Because what I want you to do with this one is you got to try these out. You got to expand your horizons here. If you're going to persuade someone and not be an irritation. So where? Meetings today, you don't have anybody you're going to be with on purpose or accidentally. Someone give us an example. Ms. Sharp.
I'm going to my department head today to see if she'll help me pay for a study abroad at Brewer. She serves as a communication ambassador.
Okay. So did this experience form of clarity, how would you explain to her how she should be persuaded to fund this?
Well, the department, not her. Not her individually, but department.
The department, right.
She is currently speaking with an Ecuadorian communication professional and trying to make a connection there. And so I'm going to take sustainability classes, both politically and infrastructure and food sustainability, all of those. And so go so that she could, if she pays for me to go, I could serve as a department ambassador in the country and get to know him in the university.
So experience. So it is, you're going to explain the experience that you're going to have to get, so that she gets better clarity on your idea? Okay. 2, you want this hot dude to take you to the movies. Instead of talking to him about all the movies playing at the Regal Hollywood 27, this movie's playing, and it's stars this person and this one, and after the first three, sound asleep, right? You ask him if he would rather watch an action movie, a horror flick, or a thriller. When he smiles and says, I love shoot-em-ups, you know you're off to a great first date because you utilized which form of clarity to persuade him? Miss Jones.
Less.
Defend it.
Instead of listing every single movie that is out, you gave him 3 choices, and you said, do you like this, this, or this? And he went with one, and you said, okay, let's go.
So less is more. Over and over and over, this is repeated in experiment after experiment after experiment. You've got to narrow down options to ones that help someone be able to make a logical choice. If you give a high D one choice, be very careful, because they'll say, nope, and you're done. You always give high Ds at least 2 choices, because they like to be in charge. Let them pick one of the 2, or one of the 3. Let's see, Mr. Williams, what situation could you be in today that would enable you to use the less form of clarity to help you persuade someone?
Well, a good example is restaurant menus.
Are you a server?
I was, yes,
Okay.
over the summer, and I know that certain restaurants, when their menus are like more than 2 or 3 pages, the customers takes them too long to pick an item and they get unhappy. But if you just have a front and back, they can quickly find what they're looking for and make a decision easily.
Or the server says, we have 3 specials. Would you be interested in our specials? Who's not going to be interested in a special? Like, what's a special? Could be price. Most often it's value or flavor. And then the servers have to memorize everything about them. So that's an example of giving someone 3 and watching to how they respond, right? Body language, ooh, or ooh, to be able to persuade them. Okay, good example. You're coaching a young girls' basketball team for your church. Your team has experienced a streak of 4 losses in a row. You can see their morale is waning in practice before the big game against a tall, undefeated team from Nashville. You decide to start 5 guards and you call them the Fast 5. At the big game, you discover the entire team is hustling like never before. Their spirits are soaring and the subs are shouting from the bench, speed kills, speed kills, speed kills, as they pull out a victory. What form of clarity did you employ to persuade your team that they could win? Mr. Mullis.
The label.
The label. Why?
Because he basically said that he labeled them the Fab 5, was it? Fast 5.
The Fast 5.
And basically...
Fab 5 is already taken.
Yeah. And that's what they sort of became before
Sort of.
the game. Well, that's what they became during the game.
Why did they become that?
Because he labeled them.
Because he labeled them. Did they fast before? Well, maybe. You know, when you raise the bar, amazingly enough, people will step up to meet the requirements of that bar. This is what great leaders do. This is what great salespeople do. Is they figure out how to raise the bar to get people to perform at a level at which they've never performed before. 5 guards against all those big ones. What a crazy idea. Has that ever happened in basketball? Over and over and over and over and over. Ever seen the movie Hoosiers? Who's not seen the movie Hoosiers? Oh man, you just go call it up on Amazon Prime or something. It's a great movie. So the answer is label. Anyone have a different answer to that one? Oh, we can't. Okay. You're trying to sell your car to a classmate you met at Starbucks. You tell them it only has 44,000 miles on it. Your mom bought it new and gave it to you. The tires have less than 5,000 miles on them and you change the oil regularly. You hear this all the time. Blah, 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 blah. It's good, it's good, it's good. But Then you tell them a lady hit you in the Walmart parking lot 6 months ago, and you show them the slight imperfection in the paint where you had the rear bumper replaced. He smiles and said, "I'll take it." You also smile because you purposefully use which form of clarity to persuade him? This paragraph.
It's the one where you use a negative to persuade.
So those red things that come out in your face, those are called
Oh,
blemishes. Yes, the blemish. The blemish. How does this work? Ms. Wilkins. Oh,
Instead of
stop.
saying only positive things to persuade someone, at the end of it, not at the beginning, but at the end, you throw in a negative that could possibly have, or something that you know of, and that actually persuades the person to want that more because they know that you're not just throwing all these only positives at them and you're...
Because it's not believable, right? Nothing is perfect. When I bought my last car, I bought it, I think I told you, on a wholesale site, and I paid an extra $100 to have 10 people walk around the car and identify every blemish. They could only find one, but they got a camera and they took a picture of the blemish with the right angle of the sun, so the little tiny, I couldn't even find it when I bought the car. But this is the blemish right here. It's the only one we could find. Was that valuable for me? Yeah, that was the coup. When I knew that a whole bunch of people I'd paid to find blemishes couldn't find any. This follows the notion of making sure you keep your word impeccable, that you're always honest. The blemish technique is a good one. It's not bad that you can find a blemish, because what do people do? They do this, right? More positives than negatives based upon the price. Number 5, you've fallen deeply in love with the girl of your dreams. However, she's been dating the Hilltoppers star quarterback, and he is impressive. 6'4", blonde, and headed to the NFL. You wonder how you could ever get her attention. When you talk to his roommate, you realize this QB is full of himself and talks nonstop about his prowess on the field. You get the opportunity to talk to your dream girl at a Subway when he's at practice. When she asks what you're studying, you admit to her you have your heart set on joining a big dig in Egypt when you graduate. She hugs you with a big smile on her face. She's an anthropology major, and you knew it, Mr. Altman. You did your homework. And she says, "Wow, aren't you something? Football, schmootball," you say to yourself. You just use what form of clarity to finally get her attention, Mr. Altman?
Potential.
Thank you. Potential. Why?
You showed her that other than being self-centered, you told yourself that this may not be what I am now, but I will be something in the future of a philanthropist, somebody that you can love.
She doesn't know all that stuff, but all she knows is that you're interested in something she's interested in, and you did your homework. And you know that this big lug just talks about himself and being a football player, and she's sick and tired of all that BS. She's supposed to talk to someone that'll talk to her about what she's interested in.
Isn't that an assumption?
Did his homework. No, he did his homework.
He was creepy.
He creeped her big time. If it's for the benefit of both of you, because you know that you're the right catch for her.
So I'm early on in this digger.
No. If you lie, no way. If you lie, one date, you're done. You know what? No, this is true. That you find out that you are going on a dig, and she's an anthropology major, and then you have to just figure out some way you can get together. Does this ever happen in sales? Oh gosh, all the time. People go to the same conferences together. People will creep a CEO in the parking lot. They'll figure out where she parks, and then when she gets to work, and they'll park, and they'll just walk up, just as she does, to the elevator. Got a question planted, you get to the elevator, you get 2 seconds. You ask the question. Mr. Williams.
Can you use your past to show your potential as well? Like you're going into a job interview and you see like a certificate saying they graduated from Yale or something, and you also graduated from Yale. You could say, I'm also a fellow alumni of Yale, and that would show maybe your potential is good.
Well, what that does up front is it enables you to create some camaraderie. You know, you've got some common bond. Oh, Yale, you went to Yale? Yeah, so did I. Did you know Mrs. Smith? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And all of a sudden, you've got some common bond. The answer is yes. That's helpful. Yep. Other questions about these 5 forms of clarity? Ms. Wilkins.
Once you have begun to incorporate these into your selling style or persuasion, do you think about them every time, or is it just come naturally? Like, for instance,
How do you do this? How do I know which one to choose? The answer is you have to practice, you have to practice, you have to practice. So the first thing you do is you've got a situation with a teacher, with someone, and you know you have to persuade them to something. You're mechanical. You step back and you think to yourself, okay, she does this, she does that, she likes this, she likes that. Can I use experience? Can I use Blemish? How should I use less? You walk through them. And the more you walk through them, the more they become a part of your thinking. Like DISC is to me in behaviors. It's just a language of how people behave and respond, and I can see it. When people do anything, I interpret that in terms of some DISC factor. Same thing with this. You've got to be very flexible, and you have to practice and practice and practice and practice. First of all, decide when you leave here, you're going to use one today. That's your assignment, and then use it. These work. The problem is that most of us are only thinking about ourselves. And we get into a situation with someone else, and we think about what I want instead of what would happen to them as a consequence of me getting what I want. So thus far, I've been giving you tools to help you put yourself second and the other person first as a way to begin starting to think. Okay? This now is just, how do I get more clarity? How can I get clarity in this person? Especially when I know they need it, but they don't see it. So let's take a look at our issue for the day. No surprise, clarity. The capacity to help others see their situations in fresh and more revealing ways. Team of 4? Here, team of 4. Team of 4, you guys. 4 here, 4 there, 5 here. You 5. Yep. Get in your groups. 3 minutes. Identify questions. The 4th minute, text it up.
Okay.
What kind of questions do you ask to figure out the situation? Anything?
How do you?
When can you use more than one example saying for your situation? Or when does a certain situation call for more than one or more?
Call for more than one type of learning. In order to employ this technique. Right. How to describe a product. Do certain kinds of clarity, this is a closer question, but do certain kinds of clarity help certain personality types? So how does personality type and clarity type, right?
Sure.
What's the difference between clarifying and completely changing your mind? What they want, or you trying to make them think that you want it. So what's the difference between clarifying their need and just completely changing their mind?
Between clarification.
Prioritize, identify the best one, and text it up.
Okay, so we have 5. What situations call for what kind of clarity? When does a situation call for more than one type of clarity? How do you describe a product's blemish without going overboard? How does personality type and clarity type mix? And what's the difference between clarification and completely changing your mind?
Earlier, like you a label to
I don't. It comes right out of my brain. Because
I like the last two.
I like the last two.
today, but I feel like we're not going to need it, but not that it was.
well, I was trying to do is what technique. I didn't think about the technique I was going to use. What I always think about is
I don't know if
what's
it's
the
like
benefit.
necessarily the personality type. I think it's more the
Think about
situation. You know? I don't
these
know.
5 techniques.
They're both good.
And I can't tell you.
This one's definitely more broad, this one's more insights. The only, what's confusing about it is now we have personality types in different situations, and now we have clarity. So we have like 3 things that both interact with each other all together.
That's understanding contrast.
Okay, go for it.
As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about that later.
That's crazy.
What I'm trying to do is to get you to think outside yourself in this first conversation. And if I can do that, then you're going to begin to being more persuasive.
That works.
Well, the Tops had a tough one this week. 3 overtimes? Help me with this question. If we reveal these ways, in what ways will their situation change? What's that mean?
That was us. Say if we reveal their situation to them in a new way, in what way will they change it?
Reveal their situation.
Yeah, if you help them see it in another light, in what way will they change?
Or will they?
Yeah. See, that was the initial one, but it was supposed to be something.
Okay, well, that's kind of the whole subject here. Okay, so we got them all? All right. The best solution for a person with multiple issues. Let's start with this one. Okay. Where's the line between effectively agitating versus irritating, right? Irritating someone in terms of clarity. That's what you meant, right? What's the question?
Autocorrect.
Pass that up. Thank you. Where do you draw the line? Now, is there a line that needs to be drawn? Or is there a line drawn? Where's the line?
I think you draw your own line when you are attuned with someone that you're selling to. Because if you're not attuned to them and you're agitating to the point of irritation.
Oh, you can't use that.
No.
You don't
okay.
agitate to the point of irritation. You agitate when they know they need it. They just don't know it.
Right.
Irritation is when you push. You know they need it, but they don't know it. And the question today is, how do you, with a greater sense, how can you deliver a greater sense of clarity to them so that it turns from irritation to agitation? So they're not irritated because they see the new picture. So, where's the line? Who has the answer? Ms. Smith. Stop. Just don't talk. Close your larynx off. First thought.
I think it depends on the situation.
It does. Give me a hint. It's not about you. It's about them.
When you cross the boundary of, like you said, it becomes more about what you want versus what they want, or what they need.
Is it more about me? If it's agitation, it's more about them. If it's irritation, it's about me, right? Because I'm trying to get you to do something, but you don't see it. So it's more about the line emerges, frankly, with the level of clarity, the level of perspective I can help the person change to. When I do that, it then becomes agitation, right? Ooh, well, I don't have the money. Well, I couldn't do that. What would my friends say? I get it now. So now when it changes, it's about helping them understand how to do it now that they're motivated to do it. So again, the focus is on, it's not about you, it's about them. And the more you can focus on them, the more persuasive you are. Someone just summarize this discussion in 30 words or less. Everyone looks down. Oh, don't choose me, dear. It was a dairy dog. It's ready. It's hovering, ready to deliver it to the person who wants to summarize. 1,003.
I'll try.
Miss Powell, good for you.
Summarize this question.
Yes,
This
this
the
question
discussion.
and the discussion we just had.
Okay, so
So,
the 5 principles of
click Miss
clarity.
Manning. So is a
So is
non-word.
included in the numbers.
Yes.
Okay. When you employ the 5 parts of clarity, you're trying to agitate them to the point where they do what you want, but also what they need. So that line is effectively when they act and when they agree to what you want and what they need. Correct?
I missed you. I lost you in that last sentence. So summarize that last sentence.
When they act, meaning you have agitated them to the point where they agree to do that, you have done the work of clarity. Clarity has worked. It has done its job.
You're right.
So I have a question.
Sure.
What's the difference between clarifying to the point, like agitating using clarification? What's the difference between that and just completely changing their mind, like going off topic? Not off topic, but I guess that's when it becomes more about you than it is about them. But if you're trying to clarify a situation and you end up just changing their mind, I don't know how to put this into words.
When you know you have a superior alternative, or at least you believe you have a superior alternative, you look at their situation, but they don't see it. So you use one of these clarity techniques, and they say, oh, I've never been to a baseball game, but you mean we could sit with the Joneses that I like, and we'd be outside the whole time, and we could have a beer, that would be okay? Yeah. Well, I'd enjoy that. I'd change your mind, haven't I, based upon that experience? So what's your question?
I think I'm leaning more towards the irritation, how it can easily turn to irritation, or
How does it turn to irritation? When I don't shift your perspective, it's irritation. When I shift your perspective, oh, goodness, then watch body language. I had a conversation with a student about marketing versus sales. And he said, I see the same techniques coming from both sides. I said, well, in sales, most often, you're eyeball to eyeball. You got all the body language. You got the person there. In marketing, you don't. You're approaching them from across the internet. But here, we haven't gotten to this point yet. Later, we're going to talk about the value of indirect communications or nonverbal communications, and how 80% of the communications in sales are nonverbal. So, question, Mr. Huff.
Okay, when it says the capacity to help others see the situations in fresh and more revealing ways,
and then we're talking about the less frame, when we're trying to show them less. My question is when do those two kind of interfere with each other? When I keep showing them more and more ways, how does that become too many ways?
Perception is reality. Your perception is your reality. The issue is, it may not be the truth. You may see something based on all your experience. And you look at it, I may think to myself, he didn't get it. So what do I do when I get to the point of, you don't get it? Do I say, you don't get it? I know in your personality you say, oh yeah? Now we got to fight. Nobody wins. But when I see that what I have to offer you, you're not going to appreciate, that's when I have to develop better clarity. Even though it seems like, at the essence here, we're dealing with little tiny issues, this is the difference between someone going, and someone going, really? This is where the emotion can switch. Oh, they serve beer and it's outside, and we'll be with our friends. Okay, I'll go. She doesn't know anything about baseball, or he doesn't know anything about baseball, but yet that was enough to persuade them that that was a good use of my time. And you're paying, right? Yeah, okay, then I'll go. Sometimes it's a number of things that causes someone to change their minds. How do you do that? These 5 forms of clarity have some of the answers.
When you're saying the 5 forms of clarity, you mean the 5 frames?
5 frames, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Does clarity help others or yourself more? Whose question? Miss Allen. Who's it help more? Miss Allen.
See, I have a hard time looking at that definition as a marketing or salesperson and saying that the reason that I am trying to convince this, that my motivation behind this is for their benefit as opposed to my benefit. Because most of the examples on that quiz were for my benefit. I wanted to go to the baseball game, so I'm trying to convince this person to come with me, or to the movies. I wanted to convince him to come with me. And I feel that in the instance of the car, it's still trying to...
But isn't that reality? Isn't that what we're doing all day long? Is we're trying to get people to do things that we want to do.
Yes, but so then I would say the definition isn't to help others.
In order, the old model of self is the model in which you take your idea and you try to jam it down their throat. And you just figure they got the money, they got the authority, got the desire, okay, then here we go. And I'm going to persuade you. And most of it's about me and not you. The new model says that in order for me to get you to buy, I have to build significant trust in you. So when I probe and I ask you about whether you have needs, you'll be honest with me, and you'll say, yes, I do have this need. Once I understand that you have this need, then I say, oh my God, I realize that this product, this light bulb that lasts for 1,000 years, she could really use, even though it costs 50 bucks. It's up on the top of that building, and to change it, it costs $1 zillion. You didn't know that, I didn't know that until I probed. So it is to help you get what you want, but then as a result, I get what I want. When we can arrive at win-win, when we can negotiate and arrive at win-win, where we both move forward. This is what causes society to move forward. This is how we do it in America. We both should win. Should never be I win and you lose. If that happens, how many times are you going to be in this negotiation? I'm done. How about if I just want to win? Regardless of what happens to you guys. You won't play anymore. What if it's me lose and you win? Boy, you guys all like that, don't you? But all of a sudden, I don't like that. That's why the approach that I'm teaching you is a win-win approach. You get to go to the ball game. The person that doesn't understand baseball goes to the ball game. They enjoy the camaraderie, and then all of a sudden, they realize, whoa, look how fast that ball's going. How can that guy just swing that little bat and hit that ball that's going at 100 miles an hour? How does that work? All of a sudden now a new interest may blossom. You don't know that. But you put them into a setting that they agree to attend. When we have a society that's based upon liberty, we have to know how to persuade to get things that we want that also help others. That's the whole purpose in personal selling. Answer your question? Oh, we're done already? Okay, guys, today our focus was, how do you persuade someone when you know they need it and they should have it, but they don't see it? The issue here is that you have to take one of these forms of clarity and decide which one to use, and then use it. On Wednesday, I will have Claire Coulter with me. Claire is the lead recruiter for the largest plumbing supply house in America, called the Ferguson Company. They are trying to hire entry-level salespeople, and she's coming to look. So look sharp. She's going to be a part of the whole subject, and we'll see you then.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I'll quit. Same thing. Miss Allen. Is it? Good question. Thank you. Wilkins, is this getting clearer?
What's that?
Is this getting clearer? What we're trying to accomplish here?
Yes.
Good.
I was just curious if it was for you after you've been doing this for so many years.
Well, if the
you are
truth be known,
consciously thinking about it.
truth be known, I keep expanding my knowledge. And every time I do this class, or every class, I learn something else. That's how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to get better and better and better and better. That's it.
Thank you.
Yep.